Hey, greetings everybody. David Chatham with Angel Oak Creative. Welcome to our latest episode of Talking Tough. This is a series with our nonprofit Tough theme this year, and we're kind of talking tough with nonprofit thought leaders. Today we have Jackie Jordan Welker. Is that right, Jackie? Okay, I don't know if you go with a hyphen or not, so I want to make sure.
I just go with three names.
Okay, so Jackie Jordan Welker here with MakeAWish of Eastern North Carolina. Jackie, the title is Director of Communications, is that right?
Yeah, I answer to just about anything. I am the Senior Director of Marketing and Communications for MakeAWish Eastern North Carolina. So the business card gets to be pretty lengthy with the three names.
Well, I will, next time I'll be better prepared with the exact title, but thank you. Thank you for being here. We have done a little bit, Angel Oak has done a little bit of work with MakeAWish Eastern North Carolina. We've really enjoyed that, and we love their mission of granting wishes to kids who are overcoming illness and other challenges. So it's just really a great mission, and we really, it's so neat to see the joy in the faces of the kids and the families, and just to experience some of that. So I'm sure it's such a rewarding yet challenging role that you guys play. So thank you for all the work that you do. Tell us a little bit about yourself and about MakeAWish of Eastern North Carolina.
Well, thank you so much. We enjoy all of the work that we do with you and the AOC team. You guys are just incredible individuals, and you offer such valuable support to nonprofits. I think a lot of our nonprofit community has been facing a lot of the same challenges with your mission, and trying to stay true to that in the face of everything that is changing in the world, and just with a lot of the navigating the climate, really. So for MakeAWish, we grant wishes for children facing critical illnesses. That process is, as you said, very rewarding and also can be very challenging. It's with children between the ages of 2.5 and 18. We have up to 3 years after their 18th birthday to get their wish granted. We work in the 49 counties on the eastern half of the state, and we are part of the larger MakeAWish America brand. So what's very interesting about our organization is everyone's heard of MakeAWish. You know, everyone has heard of what we do, varying degrees of understanding, but we operate very locally. So every area has a MakeAWish chapter that is living and working and granting wishes in that area. So for us, at 49 counties on the eastern half of the state, our office is based in Raleigh. We have employees that work in the different areas. I'm based in Wilmington. So we try to cover the coastal community and as equally as we do the Triangle area, from the Triangle to the coast. And with the wish granting experience, it is really designed to be something that provides that child with hope, with joy, things to look forward to. It empowers them. It gives children strength to continue to face what they're facing, or to face the next challenge that's ahead. And the wish experience is something that we work very closely within our community to grant. We say together we create life-changing wishes, and we mean it. It's something that we work with a huge variety of volunteers and our supporters and donors throughout our chapter area.
And what's your role there with MakeAWish?
So as the Senior Director of Marketing and Communications, I work with everything. Marcom people, we're kind of a little bit of everywhere.
We're like the Swiss Army knife of organizations, right?
Yes, I should get one of those as like my brand. You know how there used to be like Clippy, the little paper clip when you were writing a paper?
I remember Clippy, yes.
That's what I feel like. I feel like I am the Marcom Clippy, an in-person Clippy, because that is what we do, though, right? We're in a little bit of everything. So our chapter has two departments primarily. We have our development fundraising side, and we have our mission delivery, our program delivery side. So the mission delivery side works with all of our families and our medical professionals in qualifying and identifying wishes, and then granting them, coming up with all of the fun things that we get to deliver. And our development team works with all of our constituents, all of our supporters, helping plan and execute fundraising events, working with community partners that want to be involved to help grant wishes. And then I fall kind of right smack in the middle, keeping, one foot in each department. And that is really to our benefit as an organization, because I am able to kind of know what's happening on each side and find the opportunities to bring everything together.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, it's, we're going to be talking a little bit today, the kind of the subject that we're talking about is inspired. That's one of the traits of nonprofit tough organizations that we found. And certainly your organization is inspirational. If no one has had a chance to kind of check out your website or any of that and check out some of the stories that are there, it really is inspiring in that way. And, just really is encouraging that even in some of the most challenging moments of a child and a family's life, to be able to walk with them through that and to give them a moment of joy, a moment of experience that gets them out of that day-to-day challenge is really inspiring and truly just joyful. It just really brings that experience. So thank you guys for all you do. We're going to be talking about inspired just a little bit differently today, in the sense that we believe that nonprofit tough organizations are inspired in the sense that they're inspired by their mission, right? That they're really focused on what they're doing. They don't chase a lot of shiny objects and say, oh, it'd be really nice to do that too. Or it'd be really, because there are so many causes in the world that it is easy to get distracted and say, man, I wish we could do that too. And from my experience anyway with this, the most successful, or what we might consider nonprofit tough organizations, are really focused on that, in what inspired them in the beginning, right? So, what does being for you all, what does it mean to be inspired or really mission focused? How, recently through COVID, you guys faced a lot of challenges like a lot of organizations did. So, maybe first talk a little bit about what it is to be really focused on that really singular mission that you have, but then also how that helped you to focus and work through some of the challenges that COVID brought to the table.
I think I appreciate that that's your perception, because we work very hard to stay exactly right there in our lane, right? Our lane is granting wishes. Our organization was founded 41 years ago. We celebrated our 40th anniversary during COVID. But I mean, really, talk about a wet blanket, COVID. We're trying to have a celebration here, but we celebrated our 40th anniversary of the wish that inspired the creation of the MakeAWish organization. 41 years ago, Phoenix, Arizona, there was a little 7-year-old boy named Chris Gracious, and Chris was faced with leukemia. And he'd always wanted to be a police officer. In casual conversation, his mother, Linda Pauling, just mentioned it to some friends of hers who were involved in law enforcement. And those people were like, wow, we make him a police officer for a day, right? We should be able to do this. And that group of people made him a police officer for a day. And to this day, still the only honorary member of the Arizona State Highway Patrol is Chris Gracious. And great. Chris's wish to be a police officer inspired that group of people to make that happen. From that moment, that group of people said, we should be able to do this for more kids. And that is what started the Make-A-Wish organization, which is now an international global movement to share moments of hope, to share joy, to give a child that moment back, to give their childhood back. Children should not have to face the difficulties that they do when diagnosed with a critical illness. Their families are impacted as well. So for us as an organization, we look at these moments for our inspiration. We look to these children and their families as the motivation to do more and to keep sharing that positivity and that hope, because we see how it directly provides them with that strength. And so to stay true to our mission is almost kind of simple to us, because we grant wishes for kids, right? And the wide variety of wishes that can be granted keeps us on our toes, keeps us always looking for the fun, creative ways to just keep going a little bit further, So to stay true to it in the face of COVID was like every nonprofit. That was a challenge. How can we keep granting wishes? The thing that we are the most proud of as an organization, as Make-A-Wish Eastern North Carolina, is that we never stopped granting wishes. During COVID, we still pushed through. We looked at, what wishes can we continue to grant? We have wishes in our pipeline. We have kids waiting. We were faced with travel restriction, and that's a huge part of what we do, is being able to let you go somewhere, right? And
there's no Disney, right, at that point. So
the Disney is one of our most valued partners. And as an organization, they had to close, right? They had to shut down for a while, as all of us did, right? All of our worlds shut down. But for us, we had kids that had wished for maybe a gaming computer. A child wished to have an electric guitar. There's so many things that kids had wished for. So we were able to go, you know what? We can't send you to Disney right now. We don't know what's happening. Disney doesn't know what's happening. No one in the world knows what's happening. So we were able to have honest conversations with our families, giving them grace. You don't have to make this decision right now. We're going to allow ourselves grace and say, we're going to be able to wait and just see where things end up. And work on some of those other wishes that were out there that hadn't needed to change right away. So for us, being able to make that move within our organization very organically, we're going to continue to grant wishes. We're going to still continue to communicate with our families. We're going to still communicate with our volunteers and just continue to keep moving forward, sharing that joy and sharing that strength and hope, because that's what we all needed. Right.
Yeah.
And one of the really interesting things about the past year that for us as an organization hit us right away was how many times have you worn a mask before, David?
Yeah.
Or this last year?
Rarely. Yeah.
I don't think I ever did. I did for costume maybe. But that's something that our Wish families had been already dealing with.
Oh,
washing everything as it comes in, being extra cautious because you have a child that has a critical illness, that maybe is immunocompromised, is facing medical treatments that have reduced their immune system down. So a lot of our Wish families were like, welcome to the party, everyone. This is what it's like, and so for us, that we took that very much to heart. We knew that this period of time that was such upheaval for all of us was just an extension of the upheaval a family faces when diagnosed with a critical illness.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? What's the next step?
Yeah. I love that you were able to, to really pivot. You were able to stay focused and, even putting some of the power back into the hands of the Wish, of the grantees, in terms of, giving them the chance to decide, do we postpone our wish? Do we change our wish? And, just again, though, staying solely focused on that, right. And not getting distracted by other things. And that's
what it's all about. It's the child's wish. What would you wish for? If you could wish for anything in the world, what would you wish for? And us as an organization, if you've made that wish and it involved maybe going to Australia, right now we can't do that. Would you like to wait, or would you like to think of something else? Because there's lots of stuff in the world you can wish for, right? And that was important to us because our mission is to provide that child with that one life-changing experience, that moment in time that is all about them.
Yeah. Yeah. And and talk about, again, inspiring, right? I mean, that's great. One thing that every nonprofit is challenged with is capacity, right? Is the ability to serve everybody in need. And we all know that that's pretty much impossible, right? You can't, you can't grant every wish that's out there. I know you have a backlog, and like every organization has some kind of waiting list or something, or most organizations, I would think, have some kind of waiting list, or, they just don't have the resources, the funds, whatever it is they need to serve everyone. So you add that to the fact that there's a lot of pressure on nonprofit professionals. There's a lot of stress, a lot of hours, at times not a lot of pay. All of those things kind of combined, it creates a pretty high burnout rate for professionals in the the nonprofit sector. How do you and your team, how do you have you learned to be able to stay focused and to stay inspired during some of those challenging times, not just like COVID, but just when you're at to the point of you're at your maximum capacity, right? Whether it's personally or whether it's as an organization. How do you maintain that degree of inspiration to keep going?
Yeah, I think for like you hit the nail on the head. For every nonprofit, this is a problem. And I think compassion fatigue is a very real thing. And I think nonprofits maybe see that in spades, because you're working for a nonprofit because you want to make a difference in the world and you want to impact your community. You want to impact one particular person or one particular demographic group, but it all comes down to you have a personality type and you have a compassionate nature. You want to do good in the world. And compassion fatigue is something that our national team, our Make-A-Wish America national office team, was very much aware of, especially as COVID started to really impact the chapters and everyone had to go home, right? Everyone's now working from home and you maybe had a budget to grant, like in our case, we were aiming for a little over 200 wishes every year. COVID, we came in at 121 that year. That's a win. We're counting that as a win, right? We are celebrating every one of those 121 wishes. But on the flip side, there's a little part of you that's like, oh man, we were going for 200, right? There's still 79, out there that we didn't quite reach. Well, those 79 that we didn't reach that year have now rolled over to the next year. Right. And so you're reevaluating your wishes that you can reach. So now do we go 279? Well, no, the world has slowed. And even if we wanted to, which we do, we all want to reach every single wish in the pipeline as soon as possible. But just, financially, you just can't do that. The status of the world, we just can't do that safely. We can't do that. We're still thinking first and foremost about our wish families, and they're medically fragile. Furthermore, families have gone through a lot of change this year. Maybe here's an example. Maybe a family can't take a vacation because they had to use their time from their job, or maybe they've lost their job and they're looking for a new one. And a week away would be amazing, but I don't have the bandwidth for that. So our team really does start to feel that compassion fatigue. And how do you manage that? We are a very close team. And I say team over and over again, right? Because we're not a staff. I mean, we are, but we're a team. We have leadership. Our president and CEO, Chris Winter, came on about 2.5 years ago and has really done a lot to open the doors for communications, to give us relief that we may not have known we needed. He instituted something that was really helpful during COVID. And he said, every Friday we're all working, but every Friday we're going to end at noon. We're going to end at noon, and that's going to be hard. And there's going to be days it doesn't work, but I want to do that because we need to recharge and we need to press pause for ourselves. And sometimes you need someone else to give you that pause. So I think what we do really well as a team is we are focused on reaching every eligible child, finding a way to reach them, and then being realistic and saying, here's where we're at, here's what we want to do for you, and here's the timeline we're looking at. And keeping that communication open and transparent with our wish families, and then open and transparent with each other. If we're really in need of something, we're going to do everything we possibly can to help that coworker meet that need. And that's not an easy solution, and it's constant reevaluation, and it's constant looking at ways to be creative. Our supporters have been incredible, just absolutely incredible, saying, I'm still with you. I'm still here. And we find ways to share these wish stories. That's ultimately where the inspiration and the continued motivation comes from, is from the wishes that we grant. So
it's almost like it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
It does. Yeah. It's kind of our well, our well is within ourselves and within our mission, which is interesting, because I think you face that compassion fatigue, but then you can also find that rejuvenation. I mean, just one click away with what we do. You could just change the screen on your desktop and see an email from a family saying thank you, or what we share on our social channels, and the stories that we try to continuously put out into our community space. So kind of a long way around that, but it does you find those ways to recharge within what you do when you have a mission like we do.
Yeah, and I found it's about pacing yourself too, right? That if you approach it as a sprint, you're going to run out pretty quickly. But if you approach it as more of a marathon, it's and kind of pace yourself and stay hydrated and all those things, right?
All the things. Do the training. Definitely do the training. Exactly. Don't just try to run a marathon.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, we thank you so much for your time today. What advice would you give your people in the nonprofit community, nonprofit leaders? What advice would you give them about how to maintain that focus, how to really stay inspired and really, just lean into their organization's mission and not get distracted by the shiny things or those, what seem like maybe a different path that might stray from their true mission?
I think the most important thing is to communicate with each other. Talk. You're going to have a bad day. It's okay. It's okay to get it out, right? And then talk, communicate, celebrate those wins, and find them where they are, because they are always there. It can be very easy to feel that compassion fatigue and to feel the weight of meeting your mission and meeting it to perfection. I think we all strive for that within the nonprofit world. We don't just want to grant a wish. We want it to be perfect, and we put every touch and every thought into it. And I think being honest and communicating that with each other, giving your coworkers that reassurance and that space to say, I'm frustrated. Today's not the day, and go, I can help you out. What can I take off your plate? What can we do? Knowing that you're going to need that from them down the line too. Having that kind of open communication and just looking at your mission and finding the beauty in it. For us, it's every wish to wish. Every wish is the next favorite wish. People always ask, what's your favorite wish? That's the most common question. And it's always so hard because it's probably just the one I just granted, because then the next one will be, because the impact and the meaning behind it. So focus on that, find that joy every single day and celebrate it. Be honest and transparent and live in that space. So
before we have to go, share your most recent favorite wish.
Come on, I shouldn't have said that. How are you going to do that to me?
Yeah. So share one. I mean, again, share one that just kind of was inspiring to you, right? What was one that, that just maybe either the most recent or one that just kind of really caught you?
So we're right now working on a campaign for the month of June. It's 30 days of wishes, and we're trying to raise funds to grant 30 wishes in that window of time. So I've been working on some of our wish stories that we're going to share during that time period. And there's one that is really, so we captured them and tagged along with them on their wishes with a little video. And we're putting those together in a way that there's a couple stories that we're going to share in that month that I think are really going to impact people. And I will say, one of the coolest experiences I had was with one of our wish kids who had wished for a shopping spree. And she came from a small town, and we took her to the Crabtree Mall. Has a big old mall, right? And just one of those moments that reminds you of what you're doing in the world. And we spent the day walking through the mall, and we had a camera following us. People were like, who are you? I'm like, she's a celebrity. Like, this is a MakeAWish kid. Back up. And she just got to walk through the mall, and she wanted to go to one particular store. So our teams walked over to the escalator. We got on, we started heading up, and we turned and we looked, and she's still at the bottom. We're like, come on. Yeah. And she had never ridden an escalator before.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So we're kind of scrambling back down. We're running down the up. And our team, it was a great moment. We're all kind of laughing. Just, how do I do this? What do I do? How do I get on? But great. What a meaningful moment. Here she is with shopping. Go shopping. Buy anything you want in this mall. You got the money. We're going to swipe that card, girl. You get what you want. And one of the biggest takeaways was this was also her first time riding an escalator.
That's neat. Yeah. And, again, how can you not be inspired by those kinds of stories, right? Well, thank you again for today. How can people find out more information about Make-A-Wish Eastern North Carolina? And if, I'm assuming you're open to them following you on LinkedIn or Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find our Make-A-Wish account. We have them on all social media. Just search Make-A-Wish East NC. You'll find us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And then the easiest way is visiting our website, wish.org/EastNC. From there, you can find wish stories written from the children. We have a great blog in our alumni section where we've caught up with kids that we've granted wishes from a few years ago. And just hearing where they are today, they're wonderful stories to read, and really seeing the impact and creativity in what children wish for. Then you can find me in any of those spaces as well. Jackie Jordan Welker. It's just 3. It's all out there. But I would love to talk to people and love to hear more.
Well, great. Well, Jackie, thank you so much. I have a special heart for Wilmington. My alma mater is down there. So always love to get down there, and look forward to staying in touch with you guys. Thank you for all you do to inspire us. And we look forward to hearing from you soon, and wish you all the best.
I see what you did there. I like your style. I like it. Thanks so much, David. It's been wonderful to talk to everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.